that it still bothers me a little bit, but I'm used to, I mean, working almost all the holidays, weekends, weird shifts. I've worked the shift where I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and have to be at the station at 3 a.m. So you really have to be willing to change your life around, be flexible with shifts and days and holidays. I've missed family weddings and things like that that I just couldn't get off for. And so you sort of get used to it, although it's never pleasant, but it's just the sacrifice you have to make in the world of news because it never stops.
Being able to gather information and convey it in an easy to understand manner. And then for a lot of PR representatives, they're sort of doing the same thing, only it's more internally. Like when I go out on a story, I'm gathering all the facts and information that's happening at that scene and putting it together and then writing it and putting it out. And then PR people, maybe it's more internal. You're on the other side of it basically, and I think a lot of companies, or whether it's a school district or a company, they look for people with journalism experience, so it's an easy transition to make. A lot of people go into PR because it's a pretty smooth transition. You're on the other side of it basically. But a lot of people do PR. We've had people go back to school, go to law school. Tell someone, make sure it's what you really want to do. But I think that's what's great about the internship. It kind of gives you a taste and a feel for it, and know what you're getting into.
The internship helps a great deal, and then our professors were very connected. A lot of them had worked in the business. And I tell students a lot of the time when I speak to them, as far as internships, I think it's definitely a plus. You should try to do one at some point. And then I always say, if you can, do 2, because some people do, and I would recommend do 1 in a really small market, and then 1 in like a major market like Houston. And then in my major, especially my junior and senior year, we had a television station on campus, and I was involved in the newscast for that. An internship while I was in college to try and get that extra experience and make some contacts outside. I remember 2 or 3 people who helped me, and one was a photographer, and I still stay in touch with him today. And he had been, even at that point, he had been in the business a while, and he sort of took me under his wing and would talk to me about things and things I could do to improve myself, and he helped me even with writing, even though he wasn't a reporter. He would just give me writing tips and different things. And he was a real cheerleader when I was an intern, and then I went back as a production assistant, and I was trying to break in as a reporter. He was a real cheerleader on my side and would be in the news director's ear. You should hire her, you should hire her. So it helps to make those friends, and especially in the newsroom, they can be really influential with the bosses. And there has been, I've been doing this, 13, 14 years. And we had beta tapes. There's still a few of those around, I'm sure. Now we're working on discs, and it's HD and it's digital. Social media is huge. That's something I've had to adjust to. There are so many things now we have to think about when we're going out on a story. We go out and I'm gathering the information and trying to get interviews, and we're trying to get a story on the air. We're also feeding information and pictures and any little video clips on our iPhone to the web department so they can post it to our website. Then I also have my own Facebook page and my own Twitter account through the station. So when we're at a spot news scene, it's like boom, 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 you're trying to get one thing done and then the next thing. So we're very busy, and you have to cover all the platforms. And they're whittling down the crews, and it's 1, 2-man crews or woman crews. And so I guess my advice would be to learn to multitask, learn all the skills you can, because I think the next generation of journalists is going to be doing it all, shooting more, editing, the social media, and the more flexible you are and the more you know how to do everything, the more marketable you'll be. I think ethics, I would agree, have deteriorated over the years, and I think a lot of that is the pace in which we are forced to operate in. Sometimes it's about get it on the air first without maybe making sure that you're right or you're accurate, and I'd rather be right than first. You know, you don't want to be first and wrong. And I've seen that happen I could even tell you some stories if you wanted to hear them about things that have gone badly. So I do agree with that, and I'm proud to say I feel like I could work at a station where the management is still focused on good ethics, and so you just try to be, I think, balanced and accurate and give both sides equal time and equal explanation, and try to be as fair as you can. So. It was the night before I was hired full-time, and I was, again, this was in Evansville, Indiana, my first market, and I was doing fill-in reporting for a reporter on vacation, and we had a big, well, it's right on the Ohio River and lots of barges. A barge hit a bridge, and there's only one bridge that that connects the two cities for like 60 miles, and it was like 10 degrees. It was freezing outside, and so all these drivers were stranded on both sides of the bridge, so they sent me down there, and we ended up doing live shots for like 4 hours, and I wasn't prepared weather-wise for, I think I had bare ankles, and I remember my feet were freezing because I just wasn't prepared for that. I learned my lesson after that night. But we did live shots for like 4 hours, and Lewis and then the anchor went to the news director that next day and said, you need to hire her full-time, you need to hire her full-time, and then the next day he pulled me in and offered me a full-time job. So that was, without question, you know, my defining moment, I guess.